Roll call, please.
Autumn Graybill,
Here.
Ron Reeser, Pamela Buffington, Roy Jackson,
Here.
Jerry Alexander,
Here.
Chris Graves,
Here.
Keith Shelby.
Here. Petitions from the audience? Seeing none, hearing none. Number 3, discuss possible approve the minutes of the August 25th, 2025 meeting. I'm assuming everybody's had a little bit of time to read through it.
Yeah. Motion approved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All approved? Number 4, Parks Report, Mr. Frank Powell, Director Frank Powell, excuse me. Mr. Powell, I think the last time I sent a message and we kind of went over, the mayor kind of visited about it, the
Yeah,
flooding issues and stuff, and I know that you've got it on your to-do list for the.
yeah, and I was hoping two had been started here recently. I've had several guys just that time of year kind of winding down and vacations. So I've had one go, then another one, and so that's kind of put off a few little things. And I've notified Jay, like the splash pad, either October 3rd or 6th, depending on the weather, will be the last day.
Okay,
We're going to say the 6th, which is a Monday,
okay.
to give them one last weekend. But if it's like 70 degrees, then I may go ahead and shut it down Friday. You know what I mean? Yeah, so,
Right.
but it's always first week in October.
Any complaints, issues at all with the splash pad?
No, just here recently, and this has been a good year as for having to work on anything. Just today, we shut a couple down. They try to keep running after it goes off, and usually you get debris in the diaphragms and stuff. But this late in the year, you can individually shut each component down. And so instead of working on it, we'll be shutting it off here in a week or two. So a couple of them have been trying to do that. We made it all summer. A lot of times that's usually, you do it a lot the first week after you fired it up, because the lines will, I guess, have debris in it. And then a lot of times, for some reason, there at the very end, I guess they're just getting dirty probably. But anyway, nothing new, but now it's been a good year there. Actually, we've had several events this past month, whether it's like the church things, birthday parties. Just once again, the weather starts turning. I know we got 2 or 3 lined up in October, and then of course you got Halloween and stuff. So everything's good on that. I try to work with my guys have gotten where they shut down a lot of the pedestals, the electric. Certain people just hang around them, congregate, use them to charge stuff, and usually we end up having some issues around them. So my guys have gotten where they've actually been flipping breakers off, just leaving them. So when someone calls me about an event, I'll okay, give me a heads up where you want to be, and I'll make sure everything's. Plus, you get wasp nests in them, and they give them GFIs, they blow easy.
Mm-hmm.
But, other than that, we're staying busy. Like I said, we got several things lined up. We're looking at doing the porta potties at Bobby Buck. So therefore, while we've been busy, so I had some panels made. We're going to do like a privacy fence around it. So I got those made, a little heavier duty. We haven't set them, but usually I would shut bathrooms and have stuff picked up here, for the very first November. So I'll probably just wait and have the porta potty set when we would fire things up, and whenever it's the daylight savings is what I go off of. So probably in early March, mid-March, and then have them just set for next year. But
Are they gonna come weekly or monthly to service them, did they
they
say?
said weekly, yeah. And we're just gonna do like one of those universal ones for now, and then go from there.
Are you gonna do a wheelchair one?
Actually, I asked him, but I thought, no, the price significantly went up for handicap. So we're just gonna stick with our plan and then go from there, and if we have issues or some complaint, then we'll look at it, but the price went up quite a bit for those. I didn't realize that until when we first spoke. I kinda thought that's what we were getting, and I just, when it was done with unisex kind, but anyway, so.
I don't
So
think
that's-
it'd be an issue.
Yeah, so we'll just see how it goes, and then, but he's like, I got them, you just let me know, and he says whenever we're ready, he'd swap it out. Like I said, the drainage down there is probably the next big thing.
Talking about drainage at Centennial.
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, I guess I don't really have anything.
Anything new at the cemetery?
Cemetery, the guys, except for some trees, tornado damage, they've got all cleaned up, dirt work. So this rains actually is a good thing, because they had to do a lot of dirt work, so now this rains will pack that in and maybe settle it, and I have to do some more, but as far as I know, all the stones are set back. They luckily, had a little break from mowing here a couple weeks ago, and they just got after it, and looked pretty good, looked good. So, over the winter, be some trees that you'll take out. A few of them may try to save, but there's definitely gonna be a few that will have to come out. But
Have any issues with help at either place?
nah, we got the one I had all summer, and I called them. I had one quit right off the bat, and I had notified them, and they never did get me a second one. And the one I got Friday's his last day. I originally told him Labor Day. He shows up a couple of days a week. So, being it sporadic, I kept him on a little bit longer. And if he'd showed up every day, that'd been a different story. But just a couple of days a week, like today, he didn't show up. But I kept him on because we can't get any others. So, I thought, I'll get what we can. And in fact, it came up the last 2 or 3 days. If he shows up, to send him to the park to do a few little things. So, yeah, so mainly it's just been Joel and Lucas out there.
Is there any, Mayor probably had to answer this, in the budget for this coming year, is there any talks of hiring anybody to do any replacements at the park or at the cemetery?
We just talked about it, still waiting on Jeff on some of those numbers, but there's talks.
To the point too now, see how, like I said, that goes. And with winter, it's not as pressing. I mean, it wears on them. They've kept it up, but it wears on them. But the third guy would definitely take some back off. But we'll just see how it goes in spring or come spring.
Just a general question about, and you may not have any information off the top of your head, on the cemetery, are you getting a sense of the number of burials? And primarily, are you seeing any difference between full plots and cremations, or is that?
It goes in spurts.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to say. Like one starts leaning towards, because a lot of people have pre-bought. It just goes in spurts. Everybody's different. We probably definitely do a lot more cremains than we used to, but we still do our share of full burials.
Okay.
I need to get back by. The last time I was up there, the new sections that we were going to done, they had them replotted out and everything, and some roads, but there was a couple of things that still was tweaking, and so need to get back with them. The very first ones we done, they put no roads in. The engineers put no roads. So I just been using John up here, and So anyway, it's just some stuff like that, but, so that's getting pretty close to being really done. Probably just go get them, and then it'd be a matter of cutting out some roads, gravel, and then we use those little cap blocks, buy a bunch of those, and that's how we label each row, stuff like that.
Okay.
Other than that, anything else going on?
Anybody got any other questions for Frank?
If, I don't know, you using quite a bit of deer now?
What's that?
Are you using quite a bit of deer equipment?
A little bit, got a couple of pieces.
So if you got a piece go down now, they're running into like everybody else. Everybody's quitting. So one had to send to Wausau, one had to send to Springdale, and to get stuff done because they said if we wait on them out there, they're not telling how long they have it. Because service guys basically all right down to like just one guy.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So we had.
It'd be interesting.
We did have an issue at the park where one went down and they had it for a couple of weeks, I guess.
Maybe we need to rethink what we're buying for equipment then, especially if they can't service you. That's an issue.
You're probably gonna run into that about every, cause it's just like any business anymore, you're finding help, but.
True.
And then I don't know if to get into that right now, what we have used about a little bit of everything. Deer's always lasted us the best. Leo's mower, we got, 16 years out of that thing?
It's a long
Like
time.
5,000 or 6,000 hours, and it was still going, The issue we have with our equipment now, that, once again, this isn't just deer, they're like a car now. They're computerized. They got these filters on them, and they have these they'll do it every so often, like a self-cleaning thing. And if you mess with it while it's doing it, it screws it up. And if you get so many horsepower, now they've got like the muffler filters, but that used to be kind of a joke, blinker fluid. But I mean, everything's computerized now. But that's not what's one of those environmental or OSHA or EPA. That's not deer, or that's all of them. Once you hit so many horsepower, then certain things have to have certain. And that's the issue. It's going to be like a car, and we can do this normal maintenance or decks when belts and pulleys and all that. But I've never had in the 30 years I've been, even at the cemetery, I went out there, we had deer. I don't think we've ever had one go down because of an engine.
Well, it's good then.
Yeah.
That's a good testament about their product.
Engine has never been a problem. And so I guess the rest is later, so.
Well, you gonna talk about it? We can do, number 6, we can do discussion regarding playground equipment for Whitaker Park. I know that you had some in budget, correct?
Yeah, and I've been checking, so I don't know how council is going to do it, but I'm going way. I've done it in the past where I'll come to you all with several.
Ideas.
Yeah, with maybe one in mind that you all pick out 3 or 4 that are close together. They're all going to be the same age group. And so this one will be total, I mean, every toy I bought has always been ADA. It's just the surface material's not.
Right.
So we're going to finally do like Bobby Buck.
Oh, great.
And so this will include new curbing, ADA material. So but the thing I got to watch for at Whitaker is because we're replacing that one there, when you pull in, it can only be so big, like what they call the use zone. So I can't just do any toys. So I'm going off ADA, the use zone, the age, and kind of about what I budgeted. So they'll all should be relatively, have the same kind of stuff.
Okay.
No, you're just replacing the one.
That jungle gym that we took out, and then we've had to take out a spring rider, and then the slide is starting, so
Slide,
just going,
big slide?
yeah, yellow one. I've replaced that twice over all the years. And the last time we had to redo the whole thing because they had changed their setup. So the new support system and the ladder, so everything was different. So, you know, this new toy will probably have a slide on it, you know, a small. The age group will be kind of like a 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 age group.
So I got a question, because I've been asked hundreds of times about putting some type of fence around an area that was dedicated, so that if a kid's in there, they couldn't run away in case our parents not paying attention. They would never be able to run toward the road
Should
or
probably be paying
something.
attention.
And they were asking just around a toy section. It was, you know, the younger age, 2 to 5, basically.
I guess, yeah. If we're gonna do that, we might would even look at doing just that corner and somewhat down Park Street, though. I'd rather do almost that than an individual
What, I mean,
toy. But that'd probably be something we'd have to budget in for.
if that's possible, it would be nice. I mean, I've been asked, I can't tell you how many times
Nice.
people have asked about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen parks themselves closed off and having intended kind of, but not really individual.
They were just.
Or
it
maybe
was-
for like basically east of the pond is where for the, what I call the little tots and
Mhm.
most of that stuff.
That's where to me, that's where we would wanna do it at, quite
So-
honestly.
I mean, that's something we definitely could look at and maybe look for next year's.
If we can, it'd be nice, cause I've been asked, I can't tell you how many times. I'm like,
That's- yeah. There's not much more room over there to add anything, so if we ever done anything other toy though, it would be replaced.
yeah,
I think you're the only one that's on the board. At one time I went to replace that one and it was like, y'all, it was like, no. Cause that one had been there so long, it was part, that like, been there forever.
I'm sure that it haven't got cheaper.
Oh no, nothing's gotten,
That's something that, you know, I think if we could figure out the way to figure it into budget, maybe what we do is get together one.
there's 2 swing sets over there and one of them has 4. So we could do away with the swing set, you know, and then maybe look at putting one of the other toys, you know.
Maybe that's what we do, just kind of get a game plan together and get costs,
Yeah.
see what it is, and
Yeah.
maybe we can get some help somewhere to help us maybe.
What is the plan for for Bobby Bucket?
That's a separate thing.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Number 7, discussion regarding a physical fitness grant from TSET and improvements to the park.
TSCT, Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust. So that's not taxpayer money, that's money that comes straight from that endowment. We are applying for a build grant. It's a $100,000 grant. The council has done a couple of things. One, we have the approval to budget not to exceed $30,000 for a toy for Bobby Buck. Okay, so that's there. The growing pain that we have is that as we change and modify our purchasing policy, we're figuring it out. But that puts us over a limit for the piece that we wanted to do. It's gonna create some situations where we're gonna have to bid it out and whatnot. So TSET stepped up and said, hey, we've got this grant, this is a qualifying project. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write the grant. Harper and Marty are gonna help. We're gonna look to include that play set that we wanna put in there, some additional benches, and then possibly some exercise equipment along the trails.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And that would also give us the ability to go with a company that Frank usually uses for the mulch. And instead of doing like a regular wood mulch, we'll purchase extra cubic yards of the rubber mulch. When we put the framing around that, we can put your fence, if we, gotcha. But the idea is we want to make that a lot bigger than the play set that we put in. so that there's room to grow. And as we bring in, if we get awarded that grant and we do that, it'll be a pretty quick turnaround. But some of that really old, splintery, rusty stuff is gonna come out. And it's probably just time to scrap it. The idea is, you know, the west side has been neglected for a long time. There's no doubt about that. If we can look at the west side and say, hey, we're gonna bring in some of these things and we're gonna slowly start to improve. We've done other things throughout the residential parts of the west side with trash cleanup and abatement processes and things like that. You know, little by little, we can get ourselves back up to the point where maybe in a year or two, if they take care of what we put out there and the things are well maintained, we can look at entertaining a bathroom or some kind of facility. In the meantime, Frank and I have talked about, you know, we can build a little enclosed area with some 6-foot privacy fence and put an ADA porta potty out there for now. We've got a really cheap price on them to come and maintenance that and empty it regularly so that it doesn't become, you know, a health hazard or something disgusting, and that's all part of that. But the intent is we want to start to really give that park a reason for people to be there. One of the other things we talked about is, you know, I say this with all the respect I can, for all the people that never used the volleyball courts, now they want them back. So I'm just telling you, in the time that we've lived here, I very seldom saw people using it. That was why we made the adjustment to remove them. But you know, that might be something we could consider in the future, is if we do things like that, we could put it at Bobby Buck if we've stepped up that park quite a bit. We've had talks. It doesn't mean it's happening. Doesn't mean it's what we're doing, but we've talked about a small dog park or something like that. Those things are easy, they're cheap, they're easy maintenance for the parks guys, but I don't think we're ready for bathrooms yet. I don't think that, you know, there's a lot there. We've got to get MUB on board with the sewage and all of those things, plus the cost. And right now our focus is 100% on the bathrooms at the tennis courts. So there's no doubt those are bad. We've got kind of a little bit of an update. That said, I need to make sure that everybody signs in because this will help the grant that we're working on for those projects like the Bobby Buck stuff. We've had a couple community meetings with private citizens, business owners, things like that. We have, and I think I shared this, we have many of the services for that construction have been volunteered to be in kind, from electrical, plumbing, the demolition, concrete, some of the building out. We have quotes from Whitney and quotes from Wheeler Metals on a building. They're both about the same. One was $26,000 and had an awning all the way around it. The other was $25,000 and some change, but had a 12-foot awning in front of it. So I'm sure we're just going to say $25,000, $26,000 for the building. That building would in turn have ADA compliant male and female bathrooms. It would have a service room for the electricity. All of the electricity for that area is in that building. We would have a storage unit that the school, the parks, whatever could use as they are now. But then the add-on would be, we want to put a small concession area. That concession area is not going to be stocked with ovens and grills and griddles. It'll have maybe an ice machine and a cooler and a place for them to plug something in, but more so when they're having tournaments, somebody could be in there and they can sell some waters. I think I went out there one day and they were selling donuts off a picnic table. This would give them an official thing. It would look, you know, Grove and Jay bring their schools down to use those facilities for their tournaments. It's well used. We know through Placer data that we're getting about 9,000 to 10,000 people a season playing on there. That's people that actually bring their cell phones to the court, so there's probably more than that. But what we want to do is we want to add an awning in front of that concession area so that there be some picnic tables and a place to be seated. So with all of what we have in kind and what we're doing, we've applied to a couple of the businesses in the industrial park that offer community grants. And then we also today, we met about seeing if the T-Mobile community grant, which is $55,000, we're going to apply for that building cost. If we get it, that's great. If we get it and then the other company steps up and says, hey, we're gonna sponsor this, well, good, then whatever costs we have, we can do that, but we wanna make sure that everybody understands that's really our goal. Once we get approved for if we get approved for that T-Mobile grant, we should know by the 1st of November. We're looking less than a 90-day turnaround on this project, so that it's ready for the next tennis season.
Just speaking of tennis, this is kind of more toward him. Let your pickleball buddies know they're bringing in the back to that Webster tournament. It's going to be early November, so I'll be replacing all the pickleball nets back to tennis for a tournament, a big tournament.
Well, the main idea is I want you guys to know that the council has approved me to go out for grants and to seek those grants. They've also, should that not be an avenue, they've allowed for the capital budget not to exceed $30,000 for playground equipment at Bobby Buck. But any questions on any of that?
I think it's good that we're putting some focus back over at Bobby.
We should.
As much as we've done to get that upgraded, and, you know, that property could hold quite a few things. I know you and I have talked in the past about dog parks in several different areas, but that would be
Just
awesome.
throwing this out there, the smaller one, and I'm looking at it, Victor, it's a small one, about 30,000, it's not more.
Yeah, it's not cheap. And so
Small what?
place
The
that,
playground down at Whitaker with everything, it's gonna be approximately 30,000, and it's not,
yeah, it's pretty expensive. And the other thing that we're finding is a lot of the companies that sell playground equipment now that are state contract pricing or whatever it's a very contemporary kind of thing. I call it like pole and tarp type stuff. It's not really kid friendly. It's more for aesthetics than anything, in my opinion. Not things that would be practical for a park where the kids are really gonna run it through the ringers. And so,
gone to the back way to Claremore and seen that school and that toy there, I guarantee you that toy is $150,000 to $200,000.
Really.
oh yeah, easily. So that's why we think applying for the grant would be super beneficial. That would also allow us to, like I said, maybe some exercise equipment, even if it's just 4 or 5 pieces of stationary stuff that could be set around. That seems to be a thing that people are looking for. And maybe if we can improve a little bit of quality of life on the west side, that's money well spent.
Well, there's a lot of traffic through there as well, because they're still using the football fields still, and they're using the softball fields and baseball fields, so that would make perfect sense to put stuff.
Well, and please remember, the other thing, it's not always about the parks. Sometimes it's layers to the onion. If we can improve that side of town, we have a lot of empty lots on that side of town. We have a lot of places where developers are looking as we speak. We need to do things on our side to incentivize them building homes, to bringing in, we don't need $200,000-$300,000 homes on the west side, but we do need homes where it doesn't put people in a cyclical rent cycle, where they can afford to buy a home that's, you know, maybe 200,000 or less. It's gonna be, you know, 1,000 square foot, 1,100 square foot home. For Mica countertops, it is what it is. But if we can provide the opportunity for those builders to come in, that will also help with the infill that we've got. And we need to be looking at that. Some of that will come through Parks and Recreation. So,
I think it's an awesome idea. Any other questions for the mayor about?
all right, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right. Number 5, back to number 5, golf course report, Dennis Bowman.
Good evening, everyone. July and August, we're off to a really good start for our new fiscal year. I think last year we had a great year, and so we did like 185 through July and August. This year we've done 211, so about a $27,000 increase roughly. So really off to a great start on that end, which is nice to always have a little extra going into the winter, because you never know what kind of winter we're going to have. So we had a lot of tournaments. Just recently hosted the Gold Bond tournament, their employee tournament, so that was a real good success. The Ray employee tournament, we had that, And then this last Friday, we did the United Way. I think the United Way raised over 30,000. I think what Chris and Marty said is over $30,000 they raised. So I don't know if y'all know, but the United Way is now Pryor, Claremore, and Tulsa or Rogers, something, I don't know. They've kind of combined one big up into Tulsa area, I think, so far. So, but anyway,
You don't happen to know who's running that, who Pryor falls under, do you, though?
the lady that was out there, I do not recall her name.
They're coming out to the park tomorrow, and I've got some contact information if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, well, if it's who I think it is, I didn't know if she was still running it or not, but
No, she's not.
This is a different lady
home
this
rule.
year.
Okay.
They're all new group.
Yeah. So, it's good to see him raise a lot of good money for that. This Friday, we have the Ray Family Foundation Tournament. Then Saturday, we have the Danny Henson Memorial VFW Tournament. So, in October, it gets really busy. We've got so many tournaments. October 2nd and 3rd, we have the Ketawa Tournament. So, their tribe's having their tournament on a Wednesday and a Thursday, which is really good. The 4th and 5th, we have the Tulsa Southsiders coming over. On the 12th, we have the U.S. Kids. The 24th, we have Elite and Fortis. Fortis is doing I think a fundraiser for United Way, I believe. She wasn't sure who they were doing the fundraiser for at the time I spoke to her. The 25th, we have the Pryor Palm Girls. They're doing their tournament to raise some money. The 26th, the Veterans Association, they'll bring like 35 or 40 people in from all over Oklahoma. It's just their local Veterans Association, so that's kind of neat. And also we have the Inola High School golf teams doing their fundraiser. Then I think the last one of the year is going to be the city tournament. We're going to try to raise some more money for the city employees again this year on, I can't remember what the date was, November. Did you get the flyer, Jay?
Yeah, I think I sent it back over, but I can't remember what day we put on
Yeah,
it.
it's like the 24th or something like that. Look.
Is this for the Christmas bonuses?
Yes. October, November. 22nd, which I think it's the 22nd, yeah.
Of October?
November.
November, well, it's late in the year.
Yeah, we did it late last year, and we'll have to go a week later this year, but we did it late last year, and that's, of course, that's a big deal if you fall into what kind of weather you get, but last year, November was pretty good, so we'll have to hope for the best for the weather. So that's kind of it on the events.
A question, a couple of questions. One is, are you running into any, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but with the way our memberships are and our green fees and the demand that we have for the course with tournaments and stuff, have you been able to schedule all that out and not a lot of noise about it?
Yeah, for the most part, like if you have a tournament on a Saturday morning, then everybody comes out Saturday afternoon. Usually they're done by 12 or 1 o'clock, and then everybody plays in the afternoon. So they have to kind of sometimes flip and flop what days they play. But if you have it in a Friday afternoon, then they play in Friday morning. So it's not easy, but everybody, nobody's come up to me.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
I'm not saying because of
right.
something. I just
I know
wondered.
it gets tight, and then sometimes it gives them opportunity to go play someplace else. Because it's always, a lot of golfers like to go play someplace else every once in a while, so they do that also.
And what about, I'm curious as to, it looks like the demand for tournaments has increased
It has,
dramatically for Pryor.
yes.
What's your thinking about, how is it that Pryor's become a favorite golf cart course for tournaments?
Well, to start with, the layout's really good. It's a fun course to play. It's laid out well. Compared to, some of the other courses, that can be pretty tough to play. There's some up in Tulsa that they do some fundraisers at, and people just hate playing them because they're too tough on them. And, but ours, it doesn't matter if you're 70 years old or 20 years old, it's fun to play. So, you know, it's just a fun golf course to play, and we hear that a lot. But, you know, we got really good people out there. We produce, I think, a very good product, and we offer good customer service, and we seem to run tournaments pretty good for people. Yeah, I think they like that.
I will say, doing a couple of tournaments this year, cost has been a big factor, whether or not we decide we're gonna go participate in one. And then, of course, the course you're gonna go play at, because some of the courses are just, you know, some of our golfers are not the best, so it's kind of, you know, you're out of their element type of situation. And then, I will say, going out to Pryor's, I think we've done one or two this year out there, and the help is very good. I mean, they have no idea who I am when I walk in, and they treat me just like,
Good.
you know, and that's what you want, somebody who doesn't,
Yeah.
their whole deal is, customer service has been a big deal, and I can personally say, my wife will even tell you that, there's several of them that will be, as soon as we get out of the car, they'll help you, you know. I've seen them do it, numerous people out there, and I think his service is probably the best. I think that's why people come back. They're super friendly.
We work hard on
Talk.
it. Yeah, we do.
They're, you know, most of those golf pro shops you go in, you've been into them, we all have, they're very snotty, or, you know, kind of dress you up and down when you walk in, and ours isn't that way. They're there to serve, and I think that's the difference. It truly is a difference.
It is a big difference, and I've actually told my staff some stories that some people have went to other golf courses and actually left a surrounding town, come over to our shop, and end up spending money and playing golf, because when they went into the other golf course, nobody even spoke to them. And that's one of the things we strive on, to always, you know, acknowledge people when they walk in and see how we can help them. That's what we're there for.
You know, if I was gonna engage the golf course, could we improve it in some areas? Absolutely. I think you could say that about any place we go. But if you wanna look at what we're putting out, I think it's a good product. You know, there's a lot of people that I personally met. We have a foursome that we do every weekend, and I can tell you, we've met people from, a lot of people, for some reason, is over by Springdale come in. We can see a lot of those, and a lot of people from Tulsa. In fact, this one group, we just about, every weekend, we're playing with somebody from Tulsa, just about every weekend.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
One of the executives from Gold Bond, he come in and compliment me on the quality of the golf course and the staff. I thought that was pretty good. You know, he was from Maine or somewhere. I'm not sure where he's from. He's quite a ways away, but he was real complimentary of our golf course and our staff. So it was good from somebody outside like that.
Well, I mean, you put out a quality product, I think it shows, and our numbers obviously show it too, because we can look back for a while and see that we've not had a downward, you know, turn in any of it.
Now, I talked to one golf course, they were charging $75 per person for a tournament, and, you know, depending on what all we do, you know, it's somewhere 45 to 55. So we're really priced good.
You know, I don't know if you've been talking to other places, but Claremore, I guess, is struggling something fierce with theirs. Their golf courses, and, I mean, they're having major
Issues, yeah.
very bad issues, which is incredible.
We've recently finished all of our bunkers. We got all of our bunkers in really good shape, and we had a little issue with our bunker rake. We got that fixed. They raked them all today. They just look really good. So our bunkers look today about as best they've looked in a long time. So we've gotten that done. We aerified and top dressed our greens, and they come back real quick. We did them 8th and 9th, and by the end of the week, couldn't even hardly tell some of them were done. They really, the guys just, I got, you know, Chris Hurt and Russell Bourne and Jamie Myers. Those three guys are very good. I got some three of the best guys we've had in, I can't remember when. So they're really good guys. My top three guys are, if I can keep them next year, it's gonna be our golf course. I know we got some great things ahead of us. So, But we've been doing some sodding, we're gonna do some seeding, we're gonna trim trees, some stump removal. We got a lot of things out there that we wanna clean up the course, make it look a little nicer, and, the approaches on the bridges, and we've got all those to do this fall, and, so we got lots of work to do, cause I talked to, Mub, what's the Mub guy? Jared, yeah, Jared Chris. He says he's got some guys he needs to train, so he's gonna bring them out and train them on trimming trees, so that's gonna be a good deal. We're setting up a lot of tournaments already for next year. My calendar's starting to do things for next year, so anybody wanting to do something, now's the time to get the dates. Other than our carts, I think that's,
Is our membership number still pretty good?
yeah, they're still
And
running
our
pretty
cart
good.
stalls are all still full?
Oh, yeah. We're fixing to do typically in, December, we run our little membership special, and that seems to always pick up some people.
Do we have a waiting list on the cart stalls?
Yes, still have a waiting list. I think about 3 or 4 people. So
That's good.
it's posted, we keep it posted in the pro shop in there. But I guess on the carts, we'll have to rebid that out and put it in the paper for 21 days. Is that what the plan is?
Yep, that's part of that growing pain we're gonna have to figure out. So, yes, when you guys are ready to start that process.
Let's start it. I'm going to personally say that that's one of the thing I have heard is because our carts are starting to show,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it is.
Like in the
I mean, you
tournament,
can tell.
we had one quit on the tournament Friday, had to go out and get them. One of them had a flat, and go get it, air it up, so. They've had a lot of wear and tear in the last few years, that's for sure.
I think, I would like to, we need to start that process to get it going.
I emailed everybody, I know it's late this evening when I
Yeah.
got done, but I emailed everybody all the kind of stuff, and we can,
Some of the things I would like to see us try to work on, one would be bathrooms.
yeah, we got
Try
that
to
on our
figure out
list.
how we get some bathrooms. I know, we've talked about it, but what are we gotta do to try to, I think that would help tremendously. And I think the bridges are probably they're amazing. The bridges, they did really well. I don't know what we need to do for that man, but good God, they're nice. If you've not been
Yeah.
out there, they are nice. Every bridge is in the right place. I really,
When we get the
awesome
approaches
job.
done, it's gonna really set them off,
Really nice.
really make them look.
Really, really nice. But I think bathrooms is
Yep.
probably highest on the to-do list. And
Yeah, the bathrooms and, the house, that's part of my contract.
how do we,
Whether,
if we, I bet if I took a survey up here and we said, do we need a pro shop's house or do we need a pro shop? I would bet money, we would say a pro shop before we need a
Pro shop.
pro shop house.
yeah,
I was gonna say on the bathrooms, I think the best thing we're seeing with the bathroom there at the tennis court are they're not brick buildings, but they're these, like Whitney or Wheeler Metals, these buildings. We certainly don't need one the size that we're doing that bathroom and to the extent with the concession and everything else. But, if they can get us something like that and keep it under 20,000,
Well, but
might be a direction to look.
didn't you say that there was a way that you could get rid of the 2 that we have, and then if there's a different location, you could just put 1?
yeah, one nice one, and I've got some, plans there at the golf course. I'll bring them next time and make some copies.
Okay.
And what they do is they make these modular bathrooms. It's really nice for the golf course. I mean, you can get them as nice as you want. I've actually seen them at the shows, and so I've got the pamphlets of them. And
What's one would cost just
I think you can
ballpark?
get a pretty nice one. Probably, I'm gonna say 75,000, probably.
We can probably get one, we can probably do one cheaper than that if you can do yours. How much was the one at tennis court?
25.
Yeah,
And that's what I say, if we could do something like that, I mean, that's gonna have concession and this and that and the other. We could still put an awning on it, like the one over there by 15
Yeah,
You can
Yeah,
actually pull
15,
into,
yeah.
put an awning out there, 12 to 20 foot awning, that would allow them to pull under there and get out of the sun and then have, you know, ample bathrooms.
We don't need to spend $75,000 to get this done.
it would be nice to get, I agree, get a, you know, if we could put two out there for
Right.
that.
But is 25,000 just the building?
It's just the building.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
not
Tammy,
talking about the plumbing. Yeah, I was gonna say 25,000 is not gonna be for
But if
plumbing.
we've got an existing building with existing bathrooms, that makes it a whole lot easier going in. There'll be some updates and some upgrades.
Right, but we're talking at the golf course of doing a whole new location, so you're talking about a
Right.
pad
Everything.
and concrete and plumbing and fixtures, and, I mean, that's gonna cost more than 25,000.
You bet.
Right, but for the building, Autumn.
Well, no, I
that's where we're
agree.
at, and that was the question. was
Yeah.
what's the price. If we wanna put it, we can put it wherever we want. We can get the plumbing in, we can do all those things. But if we use one of the existing locations and upgrade that bathroom, that's an option to do it that way, but
Yeah,
Yeah, but exactly, because if you move locations, then you're gonna have to look at
a whole bunch of other
lines,
stuff.
all kinds of things.
Right.
So we just look at that.
But to me, I think it would be high on our to-do and
Yeah,
Right.
Back-
a nice set of bathrooms.
What are
I
you
think
talking
we-
about with the clubhouse house?
Well,
What's that?
so the pro shop at one, we had a house out there in back, how many years ago has that been? I tore that down.
The last year,
Yeah,
Probably, it was during Larry's,
last year he was mayor.
okay.
yeah.
And we was supposed to put a, what is it, trailer house, is it one time is what he wanted to put in there?
Yeah, he's,
Or,
Because it's part of the contract that was signed.
yeah.
We used to need security out there,
well.
have somebody that would be
So
in the evenings.
the understanding is, and you jump in here.
Yep.
Is that the agreement that we have with the Corps is that we'll have somebody 24/7,
oh, with the core, okay.
right? And so with that, we removed that house, not a part of that. The house was removed. The house was removed, and at the time, the direction was that the city was going to redirect general fund funds to the tune of 180, something like that. We'll just round it up to 200,000. And that's not gonna be able to happen. So whatever goes back in that spot has to come from the capital of the
Golf course.
golf course.
It was also part of a package for golf pros
Right.
that they could come and live there. So they had their living paid for, they had city utilities. And that was part of the package that we presented when we tried to attract golf pros. And
You like where you're living now, right?
Yeah, but the deal was, so it's in my contract to provide a house for me to use as I seen fit. So, once we moved out, I moved an assistant in there, and that helped me pay his wages, because it comes out of my pocket. So the house helped subsidize the people that we hire out there. And they were able to be security, that's part of their deal. So the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't been getting that benefit. And I think that's in my contract, it's only right for me to,
Well, I think we
Get
need to
that.
start looking at all of this, how the contracts are written and what's going on. That golf course needs to be making money. And I know, Chris, you've said, you know, it's set up this way and we don't have to worry about manning a clubhouse and all of that, but there is no reason that golf course shouldn't be making money to where we could have bathrooms that were decent, a clubhouse that was decent.
how much money you think it should make?
Well, how much is it making total?
Well, this last year, we made a couple $100,000.
It should be making more than that. How much are other golf courses making?
They lose money. They're subsidized. Owasso is subsidized.
Okay.
Claremore
Claremore,
loses.
Tulsa, Mohawk.
City
Tulsa,
courses.
Mohawk, city
City
courses,
courses.
yeah.
And here's the thing, too, Sherry, I think that not everybody I mean, you have to kind of dig into this. They're good questions. But we have a hybrid type membership. We have people that buy like a private membership. Those 200 members, they're able to go out there and pay a certain amount of money and play all the golf they want to play.
I'm married to one, I understand.
Now, we also, but we don't survive on that. But it works. We've been able to balance it over the years. We've got a whole lot, we have 17,000 people that came through with green fees. Those are the backbone, that if we lose that, the 200 can't support the golf course. So we've got this hybrid revenue model that I think, once you get into it, you start going, oh, okay, this is, and we allow you to put your golf cart out there, and we provide the shed and the electricity. Now, they pay a monthly fee, but where else can you go on a public course and get your own cart and your own stall? You can't do it. Now, if you want to talk about changing the model,
Like the private.
but here's what I would say about that. And this is, I mean, we haven't had this discussion, but this golf course, to me, the real benefactors of this golf course are the citizens of Pryor. We offer the citizens of Pryor a place to play golf at a reasonable price. And it's out there and it's available, and that's who our target market is.
Well, I like that, that's great, but I haven't been in this long enough to know how it works.
Yeah,
And it just seems to me that it should be making some money.
you would think, and it does, I mean, it's actually, it pays for itself, and we don't have to throw any, I mean, right now, it's self-sufficient,
I see that.
which
Okay.
is to think that we can provide golf to anybody that wants to play in the city of Pryor and other things. I mean, I've got a pro shop out there, there's a lot of things. It's a good deal. It's a really good deal.
But
It's made enough money that we started out with no irrigation system. $750,000 irrigation system got installed with money that it's made over the years. Since, yeah, so that was a big chunk of money that went into that
we just have to
irrigation.
continue that because there's so many things that need done. The clubhouse needs done, the bathrooms need done, the cart houses need redone. I mean, there are things.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think this all will come down to when the reason we've got this demand, not only from our citizens who go out there and play, it's obviously good enough that it's attracting outside parties from other towns.
I agree with that.
And so the balance here is are they willing to pay for the service in incremental rise in cost? Are we able to pay more, are they willing to pay more money to get a better bathroom, to get a better pro shop? And I don't know
The
the answer.
capital improvements is,
It's just a delicate balance, and so just trying to help put the words out there for you guys that, you know, kind of walking into this.
several $100,000 worth of equipment also.
Right, so I guess my questions are centered around, I know that Mid-America helped pay for a big capital project for the golf course. You know, the design is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the design.
Yeah. So I didn't know if that was being pursued, if it's just sitting on the shelf, if it's
So
something we're gonna,
I don't know where any of that money would come from.
okay, so,
And if anybody has any ideas where we could raise that kind of capital to
right.
make that happen, I'd be jumping up and
But I didn't
down.
know if there was a plan for that.
Is this one that included, I know we met,
It was
been a while
phased.
back.
Yeah, it was phased out.
Is this the one that includes housing?
No.
Okay, so this isn't the housing.
Just a clubhouse,
Just a clubhouse.
road, and
House and-
all that.
Yeah.
We
And
got, we got all the plans, it's just, you know,
Yeah. It's just-
where does that money come
The
from?
plans were done and then nothing else.
Yeah, there's no money, the city doesn't have any money to put into it. Only way you can ever raise that kind of capital, in my opinion, is like a bond issue like the school does or something. Other golf courses have done that, that's what they did up at, Bartlesville. They got that new golf course, it used to be called Adams, now it's Boots Hollow. And they spent, the city invested, I think, $2.5 million in that place. So, you know, but I think our city's gonna do that.
Well, if the mayor would sharpen the pencil, he
Yeah.
hasn't finished that budget yet.
You know,
We got a pool to take care of, so.
but that's what a lot of cities, you know, Sand Springs, You don't believe how much money that city has invested in that golf course. Tons of money, the city. They have the money, I guess, to do it. you know.
Well, I know,
Well, they've got the citizens that'll, rally
Yeah.
around it too.
Yep,
And they'll run a different model in how they do, who can join and who can't. Typically you're either private or public.
right. Their model is real similar to the way my contract's set up a little bit, but they don't have any private carts. So everybody rents a cart when they go to play.
oh, really?
Yeah, there's no private carts in Sand Springs. You just rent your cart every time you go play.
And I'll throw out another wild one here, that just sounds unbelievable. It used to be the Golf Pro
Yeah,
had the carts,
yeah.
got the cart revenues. And we pulled that away and said, we're gonna see if we can work something out with the pro shop and use that as a funding source for the pro versus getting the revenue to the city. We needed the revenue to plow back in to the golf course. And Dennis is the first one, I believe, that we did that with, that said, you're not getting, but most of these other pros, now I don't know if it's still that way, but most of these other pros, the golf carts are theirs and they rent them and get the revenue. So we've got a lot of little things that we've tweaked over the years, just trying to keep this thing afloat and make it work, but it's never gonna be a big profit center. It's just here for the citizens and try to provide it as inexpensively as, a good product, as inexpensively as possible with no demands upon the city for funding. And that's primarily because the city tends to oscillate like this with expenses and revenues. And once you get dependent upon it,
Right.
then you're dependent upon it. And if you don't have that, those funds aren't available.
I got you.
But the general fund should have never been available for the golf course anyway. So, and I don't mean that in any attack on anything prior to, and Dennis has done a great job, especially in the last couple of years, turning some revenues. But the problem is that when those are set up, like the rec center and the golf course and the street that gets money from tax revenues, those are set up as enterprise funds. They are meant to be self-sustaining. They're meant to do that. And previously, the ideology is that we were going to take those general fund funds and support. And Dennis, he's heard me from day one, you keep the balls flying and we don't have a problem. That meaning, that has to be self-sufficient out there. Much like our kids, when we cut them loose, they learn how to do it. I think, I think we can look at alternative ways on our budget, right? It's like, we don't want to come in with $100,000 bathrooms when all we can afford is a $20,000 building. We can still make that $20,000, $30,000 building a nice bathroom. We can dress it out, and it's not even lipstick on a pig. That's within our budget. Let's do the best we can. Maybe we set a 5-year plan that says, we've got to get bathrooms, we got to get this, and we ultimately have to get to where we put a residence back on that property. What does our 5-year outlook look like? Here's what we're going to build up to. Year 1 and 2 are going to be this, year 3 and 4 are going to be this. But it's going to come out of that. And then that may require looking at contracts. That may look at, what we have in place, what we're doing, our revenues, our costs. That's running a business, and that's part of it. So if we're going to make a business out of that department, we need to run it like a business. The unfortunate thing is that takes passion out of it. At this point, it's not, I've golfed there my whole life, I love it. What is the city doing to make profits off of that, and are we adjusting our profit, our expenditures, and our capital to meet our income? And are we still putting enough away? We have other departments that have funds that they've been able to put away, and then we turn around and invest them. We put them into CDs and CDRs, and we say, hey, let's create some wealth where there is none while we're just sitting on that money. So sometimes instead of just saying, and I'm sorry if I seem like I'm lecturing, but instead of saying, how can we spend it as fast as we make it, maybe we say, let's take this and let's invest it and let's create some money out of that. And that money, when it reaches maturity, can go for X, Y, and Z. And that's where we're at, so it's a little bit of a transition in how we're operating things, but we've got to make sure that, and this goes back to, without firing a whole discussion on it, the golf cart ideas. We we got those numbers in and we learned, hey, here's really what we can do and here's what's in our capabilities. Now we know what to go for. We start that process. The headache, when you guys make that recommendation to council to start the process on golf carts, I chuckle because we just wrapped up a bid process for air conditioners for the rec. That bid packet was posted, what, 37 pages?
This is insane.
So,
Something so simple is so hard, and I've never realized, it's, I mean, to interrupt you, but it's
No,
like,
it's okay.
this is insane.
it is.
We're bidding golf carts, and we're making it so difficult
But it has
that
to
you're
be.
gonna have somebody that's gonna go, I would no quote it and send it back to you, I'm not interested, sorry.
Right, but the
And then you're
problem
gonna
is
get
that
2 quotes, then what?
if we're gonna bid these out the right way, we have to bid them out the right way.
I understand.
And that's where the city's growing pains are at, that if it's under this threshold of cash, then we have to bid it this way or that way. And so, that's what we're looking at, and we want
And I
it the right
think-
way.
I would say, and I can understand people's frustration, but I think the city's trying to, and we're trying to model the behavior that the city's trying to implement the policies around. And the city's saying, hey, we want to put in some type of a purchasing process that,
Streamline
that does, do what?
Streamline it.
Streamline it, but make sure that it's beyond reproach, that things don't, things happen when
I get it.
can happen. So I look at it and say, it's slowing us down maybe a little bit, but if we model the behavior, then at least we know that, hey, we're part of the city. And I would say though about the enterprise funds, the golf course, wave the flag here for that, is that the golf course is self-sufficient, is not dependent upon city funds. The rec center does get
Sales tax.
sales tax.
Right.
The street department does get sales tax. And we're one of the enterprise funds, which I guess you could call MUB an enterprise fund too. They've got a revenue source they basically have a cost plus type. They can recover their cost based upon what they charge out. So I think we've got a good model that we all should be proud of. And it's not luck, it's just been done over the years and getting the right people in place. So,
That's helpful, thank you.
So Dennis, what is your overshoot, what have we made this last year? I mean, I know we've paid for the cart paths out of the overage. I remember some costs for the bridges. Any costs for bridges out of our
We're fixing to spend a little bit of money for the approaches,
approaches?
with
Okay.
some asphalt and concrete approaches. And
So what we're talking about on paying for bathrooms and upgrades comes out of whatever the.
whatever money we,
Yeah, so so I guess
basically our profit, whatever.
whatever our profit is. So I'm asking
revenue
where we're
less
at
our
on our profit
expenses.
right now.
So,
Do you, I mean, that may be something,
I'll have to, she did send that to us,
okay.
and I have reviewed it, but I don't have those numbers
Okay.
with me.
I'd like to have those numbers every time.
Yeah, they should send them, the financials. They get those, Mayor?
Yeah, they're wrapping up the rest of the year and stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on Jeff to give me some numbers for the rec center, for the golf, and for capital.
Okay.
But there was a time we had like 200 plus thousand when we were getting ready to do the cart paths.
It was like
Yeah, I think
800.
right now, last report I seen, we had like, I wanna say $360,000 in the bank.
Yeah,
And that's after
That's good.
Yeah.
paying for the cart pass,
That would buy that.
except for about 20,000 that we just paid again.
Buy a bathroom.
but though, aren't they in that money we can use
Yes,
for bathrooms?
yeah, and that's where, we've talked about
that's
it.
the way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about, I like to keep a minimum of at least 100,000 in there
Right.
as a cushion. And so that leaves,
260.
about 260 in there. And,
So, Mayor, how long did it take to do that bid process for the air conditioning units?
To actually get the bid written,
I mean, to get the whole process done, how long did it take?
what's it?
It's
what you're telling me is this takes some time.
What I'm telling you is that we have a better direction on how to do these things now.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I keep getting that one. Go on, I just want to be pretty clear. Keep in mind is that, yeah, just stay here, right? In the past, the city used infrastructure solutions. So the name you guys were familiar with is Steve Powell, right? When we restructured our direction with infrastructure solutions, we took on a lot of things by ourselves, but we were paying a tremendous amount of money to them for what they did. Was it wrong? No, but the idea is we didn't have the funds to continue to pay them for all the little things they did. The city was using them. If they needed a picture of an air conditioner on top of the chamber, we got a bill for $2,800 because they did that. That we don't need that. And so what we're finding is that as we've gone through this, as obvious as it may seem, the reality is we got to look at it is that a lot of these processes that were traditional construction projects that would fall under the Competitive Bidding Act of '74, public construction projects such as building a bathroom, things like that, have requirements that Infrastructure Solutions was doing for the city, right? And so on the city level, whether it was me, Mayor Lees, Jimmy Trammell, or the clerks, it doesn't matter. We didn't see that process because we'd say, hey, go out, let's bid it out. And they'd come back and we'd pay our $20,000 engineering fee, which included all of that bidding process. And now we're going, okay, here's what the growing pain says. To bid this out for these air conditioners that are over $50,000, and as the council deemed to be part of the construct of that building, now we have to follow that PCB of '74, and that is an arduous task. And so now we're gonna have to say, on these kind of projects like the bathrooms, if we want to build these bathrooms, does it behoove the city to say, Dale, design them and bid it out for us? This board makes the recommendation to the council, hey, let's start the process to go out for bids. We want to recommend to go out for bids on the bathrooms. So then we need to, as a council, decide, do we want to continue to try to make these, it took us, I don't know, from last Wednesday till 12 o'clock today to get that bid packet written at 37 pages, and I'm sure there's still 100 more that we needed. It's ridiculous. And so when we look at this Competitive Bidding Act, it's not a one-pager. The city's been doing one-pagers and done, and that's not right. We want to make sure we're doing it right. So we need to know which direction you want to go. We'll figure out the best way to do it, the quickest way to do it, but we're going to do it the right way. And if it's over that financial threshold, we have to follow statutes. As far as it goes outside of the Competitive Bidding Act, the state removed all regulations for municipalities for purchasing. There are no laws. That comes from Mick Dodson, who is the attorney to the state auditor. That also comes from Christian Reinhardt. That comes from Chase. The problem is that the city in our charter has rules and regulations and ordinances that we set forth for ourselves, and that's what we're bound to. We have to follow those. In the meantime, the council was in a direction to redo that whole purchasing policy to get it to where we could streamline things and make it easier and have a black and white book. And then that ordinance got voted down. And now we're back to ground zero. We're back to the Wild West, and we got to start it all over again. So next ordinance insurance meeting, that will be a discussion, is how are we going to restart that process? Because we have to have some definition. So when we say bathrooms, I'm all for it. Let's do it. If we got the money, the capital, let's figure it out. But just understand that on my side, at my desk, I'm going to be going, here's what we got to do, here's how much it's going to cost, and now we need to know who's going to write that bid. Because that bid's going to be another 37-pager with documents and non-collusions and you name it. There's hundreds of pages of stuff that has to be in there.
A lot of those things can be repeat. I mean, you just have to change them.
Right, they're front-end documents, so we copy-paste, but they need to be in there and we need to make sure it's done right, so.
Okay.
Right?
With all of that said, I think we need to start the bid process on the golf carts now.
Is that unforeseeable business?
Huh?
Do you put it as unforeseeable?
We can, if we can move it to unforeseeable business, I would like to. I'd like to do it in the bathrooms, I think.
Velvet, or what's our budget, is our budget gonna allow that, bathrooms and golf carts?
The golf carts is a different situation though.
Yes.
That's a lease,
Well,
Okay.
lease purchase, I think.
All right,
That'll be a smaller monthly payment. I think
Yeah.
once we get those numbers from Jeff, solid numbers
mhm.
for what the year end looked like for him, I think then we could definitely make a determination on what kind of funds we could spend on that.
Yep.
But definitely set that for a springtime target. What you think?
Yep.
Absolutely.
That means no other little projects till we get there, Dennis.
What? Yeah,
Well then, for unforeseeable, let's go ahead and start the process for the golf carts. And then, do we wanna use do you have drawings or anything for bathrooms, or
I have some at the golf course.
probably wouldn't be
We-
bad to
we
bring
need to
them in
probably-
and let them look at them? And
Yeah, we need to
kinda
have a
make
committee
decision
say,
on
hey,
what changes, or,
yeah, this is what we're looking to have out there.
And there's no reason that you guys can't come up with something too to present. I mean, it doesn't just have to be his. If you've got a resource that can draw you up something that, hey, this might be a practical bathroom,
Mhm.
bring it in and look at it. It doesn't just have to be Dennis.
So if we're gonna suggest to go out to bid, are we gonna give him what our scope is that we're looking for them to go out to bid on?
I think we already have it.
I think,
For the golf carts, we do
I
anyway.
think scope is gonna fall under this.
Now, here's all the stuff that we've always kind
I
of
mean,
done
that's-
on the
Okay, so
golf
we already,
carts.
You know,
okay.
we have a scope,
Yeah.
only thing we're adding to it was stuff for our golf course.
Oh, GPS?
GPS.
Now, that'd be a
Sorry,
separate
thank you.
bid, that'd have to be a separate bid.
Right,
'cause
I
these
think that's the
companies-
only other thing we're gonna add to it. is
Yeah, it'd be a
GPS.
separate bid for GPS, yeah,
So I think that would be important, and we're changing
Yeah.
from 50 to 60.
right,
I'll take it,
and that's all on here.
get it done.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. And then as far as bathrooms, I guess let's bring the drawing in and look at it for
Next meeting.
the next meeting
Yep.
and kind of
I'll get them to y'all so y'all can look them over and,
we can, I think that would be important. It'd be nice to be able to put signs up out there saying, hey, this is coming 2026.
Yep.
I think
new
that'd add some
bathrooms,
excitement.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Where are they at, by the way, before we finish up on, your report? They were gonna put signs up out there. Remember, Mayor, you had somebody that.
Oh, yeah,
Wayfinding, I think Premier still has those.
yeah, Premier has them, and I guess we're waiting on them to come install them.
Yeah, we went in and paid for the install on that too, so.
Oh, awesome. So the Brock and then
Yeah,
it'll be
it's
out.
only like
Yeah.
$1,000-$1,200 to have it installed, so.
Wow,
But they look really sharp.
that's gonna be awesome to see out there then.
And then, a couple of questions around just the process. It's my understanding, based upon what I think I've heard, is department heads in each one of these areas, whether you're talking about the rec center or the street department, or you, as an enterprise fund, you're the one responsible for putting together the bid packet? Is that, who's got responsibility within the city for preparing a packet?
Providing the scope is gonna come from the department head, the one that's requesting that.
Okay, who actually, have you got to the point yet that
No.
you've determined,
No,
okay,
That's what I'm saying, Chris, is we've got to make sure that if we're gonna follow this route of, doing things the right way, I have to figure out how we're gonna do that. Are we gonna go back to somebody like infrastructure? Right now, we have Phyllis Llewellyn, who is a retired government procurement agent, who has volunteered her time. I've offered to compensate her, because she's done a fabulous job. But she's retired, and that's her wish to stay retired. So we've got to figure out how we're going to do this. This is a new step for Pryor.
okay, and what I'm doing is throwing myself in front of this bus, because I think it's about to leave. We're about to task Dennis with something, and it sounds like we probably need to wait until you guys,
No, don't wait. Start the process. Let us figure it out. Let us figure it out.
okay.
We can work
so-
concurrent to this.
But we don't know what that, you don't have the bid packet format,
Ain't
layout.
nobody got that bid packet written yet. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying. I need the scope, I need to know what we need, and we will go from there. You guys just have to say, let's start that process. Then it's out of your hands.
okay,
It'll be out of your hands. You turn it over to us, we'll figure it out. Dennis and I We'll sit down with Chase, we'll figure out, we'll back and forth to the council as quick as we humanly possibly can. Because at least now we know what direction to go. But the idea is that in the past, this has always been done for us. And now we're going, okay, if we're gonna do it, then we need to know the process. And that's what we're learning. This is a growing pain. We'll figure it out. You give him the okay to start it, pass it on to council to prove that, we'll go from there.
Well, I will throw out that, I'm not trying to be coy. I've been through this in my real life. And these are, once you centralize purchasing, you do have to go through, and what you find out is, we're gonna find out for the reasons you just mentioned, is that when you get out into your field operations, or in our case, out into these, the other funds, enterprise funds, we don't have people on staff, like infrastructure services, hired by the city, that we don't have people that work for the city as employees who do this kind of stuff. So we're dependent upon others. Now Dennis and Mike too, and I'm sure you talk to the other enterprise funds, Buddy, they're gonna tell you, their experts typically are people that are in this line of work providing them services. That's who they call and say, they have these relationships. When we tried to implement this across our field operations nationwide, what we got was, well, you're telling me I can't use this person because they don't fit the bid requirements, but that's my expert who's, given. So you deal with these kinds of things as we get down, and you characterized it. Infrastructure Solutions will do that for you if you're willing to pay them.
Just no, right, and that's what I was gonna say, and then we'll get back on track here, is that just know that whatever we bid out, the cost, if we have to have somebody third party create that bid, that department will pay for that bid. That's not coming out of general fund. So if it's gonna be for his buildings or for writing a bid for whatever, that's gotta be part of what you guys consider the cost will include. That's just how that's gonna be. If we have to say to hypothetically, for all ears in the room, if we have to say, we're gonna ask Dale to write the bid, we'll get you a price and it's gonna be part of that deal. But we're gonna figure it out. That's where we're at right now, so.
And then the next thing's gonna be when the bids come in, and somebody's got a relationship with one of those bidders that they've depended upon in the past, but they're not the low bidder. Then that becomes the next thing that you run into is,
But that's.
well, this is a person I trust, but he's not the low
That's why we
bidder.
want to do this the right way, is because
Exactly.
we want to eliminate all of those opportunities. We talked about all of this in the last meeting on why we're doing what we do and why we're taking these extra steps. We've got to protect ourselves. We've got to be wise about it, so.
Is there anything we can say as far as, if somebody just lowballs it, are we dependent upon the lowest bidder to get the deal?
Lowest
You
reasonable
qualify
bid.
it. You qualify it.
The lowest reasonable bid, so whatever is in the best interest of the city.
Yep.
Let's look at the last street project we did, lowest bid was the worst
That's what I was
possible
getting ready
bid.
to say, that
No.
was a great deal.
If we know, and there are qualifiers for that are in that bidding process, legalities that say this, and this qualify you to not have to take that lowest bidder.
Yes.
The buddy system is not one of them.
So I know, like, in my previous line of work, when I would
They
do
don't meet the
qualification,
specs,
I
yeah, the
would put a
specs.
spec, I would
That's
do
why you
the
write the
specs,
specs.
and I would make a line, and they had to go and initial, yes, this is in my bid, yes, this is in my bid, yes, this is in my bid, and that's where you weed out a lot of those, oh, I didn't put that in my bid, I'm pulling my bid. And that's where you find those low bids are gonna, cause you can get gaps, 20,000 and 100,000, well, why is there that big, cause they didn't have
We
something.
did that on when we did motors, we started at 10 o'clock one night, but we didn't take the lowest bid on the mower because the more we picked,
Right.
when you start looking at the blades and how long it takes to
Right.
sharpen them, how many more cuttings we can get through, literally, that was the question, how many more cuttings can we do? How much quicker can we cut by using this machine? And ultimately, it was more expensive, but it paid for itself
And
time
labor.
and time again, and it's proven.
But what Amber's saying is, she didn't say it, but what she's implying is it's the quality of your bid, your ability to know enough about what's important that you're bidding on, and it's not just purchase price. It's maintenance, it's parts, it's, turnaround time, it's all these things that once you get good at it, you get good, somebody gets good at writing bid specs.
Yep.
And that way you don't get into a situation like, that we've been in. I mean, everybody gets in that sometime or another. But you write these bids and then you find out somebody has lowballed you and you didn't catch
Yeah,
what they didn't put in their bid.
exactly.
And then you find out, we just lived through that. as a
Yes, we
city.
did, yes.
That's why I have on here, comply or show,
Yeah.
whatever the specs are, they have to either comply with what we're wanting or show what they're doing.
All right, then I think we need to go out for bids for golf carts, and then next meeting, let's go ahead and get stuff ready to talk about,
Restroom.
bathrooms at the golf course, and maybe let's have the locations that we're thinking about.
I've got that all planned out.
We're gonna go out for bids and follow the process that the city's putting in place.
Yes.
Great.
Okay,
Awesome.
so are you moving to recommend council action to go out to bids
Yes.
for golf carts?
Yes.
Who's making that motion?
I will.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I'll get y'all some plans y'all can look over and
Awesome.
Come up with something, be awesome.
Perfect.
Number 9, adjourn.
Thanks, Dennis.
Oh,
Yes.
I've got a revenue generating idea.
Uh-oh.
Maybe,
Oh, no.
Chris, you tell me if it's an old one, we can't do it. But what would be wrong with plowing sales tax collections from the golf course back into the golf course capital fund to pay for capital needs? It would be golfers' money going to the golf course. It would be a golf course TIF.
The golf
I love
course
that idea.
sales
Please don't use that
tax.
word.
I was gonna say,
That's going nowhere.
Tax collected, so-
I was
The
gonna,
sales tax that we pay is state and county, we don't pay city.
Oh.
We're not in the city limits.
I wish we was, so.
I wish I'd known that answer.
Even though it's a city course?
It's outside the limits.
Oh,
Need annexes.
Well, could you draw a fence to the golf course? And
That's what it needs.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of land between here and there.
you just gotta go down the curb.
we don't own the land, so you can't.
No, you can run a fence, I don't know, maybe a foot wide, 2 feet wide, and go all the way there.
Well, then the question will be, who's gonna mow it?
the golf course,
I mean,
the golf course.
You can't annex it because it's not
it's not city-owned
city
property either,
property.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
or land. Awesome.
So the core wouldn't want to be annexed, probably.
We tried to get that, we've been
What I
trying
tried
to,
to do one time was get that land, do a deed swap. So we tried to do a deed swap with Senator Dan Boren and Senator Inhofe, and then the Obama plan come up, and we never could get into Inhofe, but for the city to do a deed swap, swap that land with some of their other land that they don't even use, and then if the city owned that land with a deed swap, then they could sell off partials, and that was the way we were gonna go with that and do everything. But we found out that was a bigger road than we could haul, because we couldn't even get into, the Means and Ways Committee. So where you gotta go through. You can't go through the core, you gotta go through the Means and Ways Committee, you gotta come top down.
interesting.
But if you did that, the city took the deed of that land, the potential out there is unbelievable what you could do, the city could do with that.
Adjourn. Somebody say it,
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey, is that, you have a moment?
I do, I care I do.